Hello. I think it's been a little while. I kind of went on a pause. Actually, I have not been in the best of mental conditions for the past couple of weeks. But anyway, that probably would inform how I was able to consume this memoir called Kin by Shawna Kay Rodenberg. So that is the discussion for today, kin. Now, kin is a tricky one for me because, I don't get a lot of comments on this channel, which is fine with me. I like it that it's kind of low impact on my life and on lives of other people, that, it just, what I do just doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm really grateful that there are a couple of people who do comment on my posts and seem to be watching them. And that's, a lovely thing to have, to be honored with any kind of attention for what someone's trying to do. And my little elderly life efforts of talking about the books that I write and about my own life, which we're going to get into a little bit in this one. So Kin is a memoir, as I said, by this woman who is, I don't know, she's, what is her age? Yeah, she's 50-ish or something. Anyway, she's kind of the age of a child I would have, which is to say her parents were pretty much my age. And although, the whole trajectory of their lives were a lot different. And she talks a lot about kin. That's the title of the book. So it is really about family. It is a memoir about family, even more than it is about the individual Shawna. It's really, earlier when I was reading, I felt like it was, sort of the fractal thing of looking back into families, and it all kind of ends up being sort of the same. You go back and back and back, and it's all kind of the same kind of image, repeating, back and back and back. And or a hologram where you see part of it and it shows all the rest that's really all there. And so she does talk about some sisters of her and of her her grandparents on both sides, and her parents. There is also a part of this that is involved with cults. And the person who suggested this, her name on YouTube is Leslie. So Leslie, if you're watching, thank you for recommending the book, and thank you for watching my little channel here. So there's also a part of this that is involving Christian cult behavior. And her particular thing was being involved with her parents when she was quite young. Her father decided that they were going to go up to the North Woods, and they were going to go for a communal thing, which was kind of in the vogue in the 70s, out of the sort of hippie thing and so forth. But there was also these religious situations and communes, which, like I also already went through with what the Mel Lyman stuff. And there's a certain parallel between this book and When the World Didn't End, because this is also another end times thing, like they're joining a cult and they go way up in the top of Minnesota, someplace by Lake Superior. And these people are from, Appalachia, from Kentucky. So, it's really cold and weird up there. So it's a whole different kind of world to live in. And so she does talk about the cult experience of being up there. And how it was mostly a feeling of certain deprivation and control. Little things like, they had to wear a dress code. The girls always had to wear skirts. And once again, it's very, very this very male female broke down as far as roles and it seems to be really a part of all this. Of these Christian cult behavior, well, all of it really, of the maltreatment of women, really, and children in this one. And once again, like The World Didn't End, When the World Didn't End, another book I reviewed on here. Once again, they, are separating the parents from the children in a certain way. And she kind of soft pedals the cult stuff. She doesn't really go into it that deeply. And she's not very critical of it all. Now, I suspect that that lack of critical looking at it is because her father chose to send them up there and chose for them to do that. And she, loved her father. And that is a theme in the book of family and family connection. And, at one point she's, it's like, they're family, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't, the implication of that being that you just don't walk away or abandon your family. That's just not how we behave. And that's a beautiful thing for the people who are, I guess, conditioned and can do that. Now, when I get into the personal stuff, it's like, well, I am not that person. So that's why this book was a little rough for me, because, I am like, I'm not anti-family. I'm more like unfamily. I didn't really respond to it all that much, other than kind of trying to get away from it, which has kind of messed up my life from there on through. In that I'm an escape artist. I don't last, and I'm not going to last here either. So just so you know, it is, the book is mainly about the women. It is and the men are present, but the men are. They're just not good. They are either drunk, or well, a couple of them are not drunk, or drunk on religion, on Christ. But in this case, her father, who was not a drinker, was sober. Did get swept into this religious thing, and they left their family and went up, and and he was, coal mining. They were all from this coal mining area. It's called Secco, is a little town that she is from, and it's down by Hazard, in the really deep Appalachian coal country of Kentucky. She does actually state how they got to be that way, how, without really going into it. She never really mentions the word hillbilly, But how when the coal companies moved in, before that they were, kind of living off the land, these people in Appalachia and so forth. And, they sold their mineral rights. The guys went, I don't know how you could go into a mine and work every day. I would go out of my mind, frankly, but somehow they do, and then they come out and drink at night, whatever, because they have money. So, she kind of blames a lot of that on the coal companies, and although she's not, there's no political angle in this book, really. I did find an article that she wrote on Salon more about cults and religious movements, and talked more about her experience with the Body, or the Move, whichever it was called, this Sam Fife organization. And I did listen on YouTube earlier today to this. They did exorcisms too. There's this guy, this Sam Fife guy, badgering this woman, Jane, trying to get rid of her demons. Well, I read the description, and it turns out that this woman was set up with him from Tulane University. So Tulane University was studying whether exorcism could work on insane people, which seems a little insane to me. But apparently with this one, she ended up being a preacher for the Move. So I don't know. It was not pleasant to listen to. It's in the name of Christ. Now, I was raised with I'm kind of near these people myself in a way. I'm from Ohio, where a lot of them moved to work in steel mills instead of coal. I'm not from coal country. The part of Kentucky that my people, the Carters, came from was a little bit more north up, quite near Ohio, and not really so much in coal country. So I never heard of any, relation of mine that was a coal miner or anything like that. So, but they certainly my grandfather was an alcoholic, and a kind of a rascal, and there's another book called what is it called? Ramp. I'll look it up and put it in the description. There's the book by J.D. Vance, Hillbilly Elegy. I read that a few years ago when it came out, and it was very disappointing. I could tell that it was really just a kind of a right-wing piece. And around the same time, another book about mountain people came out around the same time, called Ramp something. I'll look it up and put it in the put it on the screen behind me. So I recommend that book because it talks about these things, about how these people were out there, and then basically capitalism came in and changed everything, and then we were taught to look down upon them as ignorant hillbilly people. So, and she states that's kind of what she's trying to do with her book, trying to show that a different side of mountain people. But the irony of it is that at the same time that she does that, says that, she kind of, in the real text, she does kind of show the sort of insularity of these, mountain type people who've been there for generations. And there's some wild story. There's not a particular plot. She's a survivor, so she she gets married toward the end, very young. So that's a thing where, she's trying to say it's not like that, but then it lives her life basically like that by getting pregnant very young and going ahead and having the child and having a marriage to someone who was a lot older, who was her mother's advisor at school. And so ultimately she had another marriage and had 5 kids. So, in a way, she's, yeah, they're not ignorant hillbillies. They're just, Americans trying to get by. And that's, basically what the story is. And there's one part of one of her relatives, I guess, it's a little hard. I wish that sometimes when people do these family things, that especially when it's a little complicated, if we could get like a family tree, so just a page with the family tree, like this one married that, and then, just sort of be able to kind of track it in my mind a little bit better than kind of just sort of keeping attentively keeping up with it all. And in this one, she does hop back and forth, so through time. So she'll start in 77, then we'll go up to 67, then we'll go into the 80s, and back and forth. So I think that it is a good book that women might like to read. As I said, it just kind of made me a little upset about myself, and I was kind of going through that anyway during this period what I was talking about there. And so I just, I kind of see myself in a way as so some sort of an evolution of these hillbilly men, I guess. I'm not really affected by religion, at least not anymore. I did have some, religious, psychological sort of meanderings when I was younger, but the Christian thing I just don't get at all, and why it just keeps on and on and on, and why it's so powerful, and why people just keep going into it, and how it just takes over their lives in that way. And I don't really understand it, and I don't. It's not like I'm anti it in certain sort of sense. It's not like I'm, a religious rebel. I'm not like, okay, I didn't really like my Christian life, so I'm going to become a Satanist. It's not, I'm not like that at all. I'm just like, it didn't mean anything to me, and it's just not relevant to my life as I see it right now. But we need something to believe in, I guess, and it certainly is prepackaged in there and energetically promoted on television and otherwise. So what else do I have to say about this? Yeah, it was, it's an interesting read. As I said, I probably would have liked it better had I been a woman, because it really is about the women. She doesn't really know that much about the men. The men are kind of over there. You kind of want to get a good one who will support you with all these kids, and one that's not like too drunk or too insane. Like there's this Jessie, one of her relatives, who was kept in a cage. Like this weird story of Jessie, who got brought into the mine by his father, and then his father, after the mine, got him drunk, and after his first day at the mine, and after when he was like, whatever, 13, 15, whatever, young kid, and from then on he just became a insane. He was like it was like the geek in what the hell was the name of the movie? I can't think of it at the moment. The sideshow story about the magician, which was made into a couple of great Nightmare Alley. Yeah, yeah. The one of the characters, Jesse, reminds me of the geek in Nightmare Alley, because they keep him in a cage in the living room, and then he escapes from the cage and he causes all his problems. And so there are other, as I said, I looked for more material on this stuff, and I did find a couple of podcasts with another survivor, a woman from this. Her name is Vennie Kocsis, VennieKocsis. And I'll include a link to some podcasts where she's appeared and talked about what went on. She's in this book. She's very well. She's a mama and a mama. So she doesn't really state things flat out. Like there's this one part where she's up with the body, the move people up in Minnesota, and there's this guy she starts getting involved with, an older man who ends up being her tutor, and apparently they start having sex, and she contracts a venereal disease, and ultimately the guy was just told to leave. So it was, the implication was that this guy was having sex with her, but we don't really get it's stated blankly, straightly. It's sort of implied, whereas Vennie Kocsis talks more straight about this environment, this cult was a place where children were abused, either neglected or sexually exploited, or both. So at any rate, I think that's about what I have to say about Kin. And I do appreciate Leslie for recommending it. And you might like this book, especially if you're a woman who likes memoirs and somewhat interested in cult stuff, although it's a little lean on the cult material, as I just said. So I think we'll leave it here, and we'll see you the next time, which might be Jonathan Letham's new book, Brooklyn Crime Story, which I'm listening to in audiobook right now because it came out only yesterday, and I got it for free on my Audible 3-month freebie thing. So